So we are going to launch this beautiful space as part of the 33rd edition of the Congress. The session today is going to be Charlas Aaprender discussions. So these are learning conversations. What we will see during this morning are not traditional presentations. The intent is that each speaker should step on stage to share his or her ideas. So these are not going to be formal presentations. The people that will speak to us do not have an absolute answer to problems, but rather it will be an open source conversation. It will be about expanding our knowledge and freeing it up through the experience of each person that is going to be sharing this beautiful stage with us today. So we will allow ourselves to be touched by the experiences of each of the participants of these conversations. This is a simple approach, a simple design for these discussions, but it's very compelling. So that's the goal. Once we are done with this morning, we might be able to leave this room feeling differently. The objective is that we might be able to become better people, different people, thanks to these conversations, thanks to the curiosity that is whetted by these new ideas, so that we may be more open to listen to what our fellow human beings have to share, so that we may feel really touched by the knowledge that they have to share. Charlas Aaprender is exactly that. It's a space to break away from our prejudices, for connecting worlds and for building bridges. So that is the objective of what we will see during this morning. And as I was saying, this happens led by Aapresid's motto for this edition, which is open source. It's an invitation to unblock what we know. So I would especially like to thank all the people and all the companies that have worked a lot on this, the sponsors, the partners, so that this space becomes a reality, and so that, we may actually be able to materialize these discussions during this morning. Thank you as well to our audience for being here today. So we are going to put our bets on ideas and on transforming our worlds. After we leave this auditorium, I assure you we will feel different. General indications, I will say this right now, but we will probably repeat this during the morning. Our goal here is to be really present in the here and now. So please put your cell phones in airplane mode or on vibrate. You cannot tape or film these discussions. You can take photographs, but without a flash. If you need to go to the toilets are there are signs that guide you there, and if you need to leave the room, you can do it between discussions and not when the speaker is on stage. Thank you for helping us to take care of this experience so that everything flows harmoniously.
Fantástico. Bueno, ¿saben qué es una idea?
Do you know what an idea is? Have you ever reflected on what an idea is? An idea is a small but powerful thought that wakes up in our heads and which invites us to do exactly that, to generate an action. It is a thought that asks us to be listened to. An idea can change one life or many, and interestingly, it ends up transforming our environment, provided that it finds that space for growth and for expansion. Today, during this morning, we are going to share lots of ideas. Importantly, these ideas should speak to us. We should really feel touched by these ideas. These ideas should invite us to think differently. These ideas should awaken our curiosity, or at least this. These ideas should allow us to see things from a different perspective, because we are going through, and I'm sure you share this idea, we are going through a moment where everyone feels certain about everything, right? Nobody doubts anything, right? But rather, we should think about what ideas are actually there that may reach us, that may get to us. So this is a place, is like a haven where we may ponder these questions that possibly do not have an answer, mind you. So that is what I would like to invite you to do, so that we leave this room feeling more intrigued, more inquisitive, feeling different. So we have this first speaker with us. So he is here with us already. It's our honor to introduce Roberto Peiretti. Roberto Peiretti has a long, very interesting track record. He's one of the founding partners of Aapresid. He's also a farmer and agronomist. He has a master's degree in science, and he has been working for more than 50 years on developing agricultural production systems. And from the outset, he combined research with a systemic perspective, a holistic perspective of the work on the farm, the work in the countryside, as well as the sustainability of agriculture. Roberto has been recognized by the father of the Green Revolution. So this is a person that received the Nobel Prize back in 1970 during the 7th Corn Congress. So it was at this point that Roberto Peiretti was recognized by this Nobel Prize laureate. Well, he has a very practical approach, a very integrated approach to agriculture. So he works in an integrated way, and thanks to this, Roberto became an international leader for the development of sustainable agriculture, and he disseminated these topics in over 40 countries, and he has given more than 80 presentations. So this hard work has awarded him the title of honoris causa doctor at the National University of Córdoba, and a few months ago he was added as a member of the National Academy of Agronomics and Veterinary Science. So let's have a round of applause for Roberto Peiretti, who is joining us on stage. He is the first speaker of the Aaprender presentation.
Bueno, buenos días a todos.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Aapresid for this opportunity to participate in this cycle. I would also like to thank Grupo Lupa, which has helped me organize ideas in a way that fits these types of presentations in the Aaprender discussions or the Aaprender talks. I know that time is short, so let us plunge directly on a brief description of what I'm going to try to convey to you. And it's just a few ideas in which I will talk about realities, unanswered questions, what the future awaits us, etc. I will then specifically talk about how the agricultural system worldwide works, its challenges and opportunities. Oftentimes, in our farmers, we work, we farm, we develop the full cycle, but sometimes we do not do this with awareness of our role and the impact that we may produce on humankind as a whole. Because farmers in their thousands and in their millions produce a significant impact, of course. So let us take a quick look at how this evolved and what happened, what were the basic pillars, both for the developments and the questions that came up, as well as the challenges and opportunities that are implied in our system. From this standpoint, it is extremely important to bear in mind that we will analyze a period that starts in the mid-1900s up until the current time. So, during this period, mid-20th century, the human population went from 3 billion inhabitants to over 8 billion, as projected to 9 and 10 billion inhabitants in the coming years. But remember that these 8 billion inhabitants need to be fed, and food needs to be produced for them. During this same period, if we take a look at the per capita availability of soil, there was a drop, 1/2 of an hectare per person, up to 0.25 in the current time, and the trend is downward, remains a downward trend. In addition, during this period, let's take a quick look at this, consumption of cereals, of grain crops. So we need to, if we consider all of the grains, we need to add 30% to these figures. We started out with 1 billion tons per year back in the 1960s, and now we are producing 3 billion tons, and we will soon attain the 4 or 5 billion tons in the coming years. So the level of grain production was tripled or even more in the same period. And remember that the soil available for production dropped to 1/2, up until agriculture was able to move hand in hand with this huge growth of demand and consumption. What is our challenge? Demand for agricultural products grows in human time terms. Agricultural soil only grows in geologic terms, or in geologic time terms, which is irrelevant for human time. And that is why soil has become more and more unavailable per capita. So how have we gone about tripling the global volume for production with 50% of the per capita soil available to us? Because we were able to triple our production, but the available soil was reduced by 1/2. So this mechanism whereby we were able to, I'm talking about global terms, we were able to get 80% of the growth. This is explained by the increase in yield that we were able to materialize during this period. This yield increase was a global phenomenon, despite all the dispersions, despite all the differences that we can encounter across our planet, because we know that the Earth has different kinds of societies, different kind of agricultural environments, and so on. Still, the benefit of the increase of the yield applied to all types of production units, ranging from those that produce involving a huge effort on the human side, so as to be able to bring the crops to fruition. And the result of that effort in many cases implies as much as having food on the table or not having food on the table in the coming months. So these production units were benefited, even the ones that are lucky enough to produce with all of the modern technology, and where the increase of the yield is expressed, the benefits of all of modern technology that is expressed with maximum potential. In this case, we can see a cornfield. This is my wife, who is, she has been my sidekick throughout my life, and she has accompanied me throughout our different activities. The significant increase of total agricultural production that took place on a planetary basis to over 3 billion tons went hand in hand with enormous benefits for humankind as a whole. And one way of looking at this, in a summary, this is a very dramatic graph. We can see on this graph how famine was reduced, and as a result of that, famine deaths throughout the planet. Imagine that we are talking about the whole world. I'm not talking about a specific region. I'm not talking about one country. So in pretty much the same way as in the 60s, up to 30 million people died because of famine, thanks to this process involving the increase of agricultural production. Take a look at the drop. The values are 1 to 2 million per decade in the current day. So our aspiration is that this number might be brought to zero in the near future. What does the future await us? What kind of mirror do we want to look at ourselves in? Will we increasing production? Will we continue to increase production? Because from 3 billion tons or more, which are currently produced every year, we are going to need 4 or 5 billion tons. So how will we grow? Because soils are becoming more and more unavailable. So there are only 2 known mechanisms today. We need to continue to increase yields, that is productivity, or we can expand arable land. There is no other mechanism that is available. So insofar as we prioritize the first mechanism, the increase in productivity, that is, we are going to remove pressure from the need of expanding our arable land so long as there still are soils that are available for production. But our priority needs to lie on the increase in productivity. The increase in productivity implies adopting more science, more technology, and other things that I will describe shortly. So, what limits our capacity for using this mechanism in its full potential? What limits us, what restricts this intent, is the fact that there are extremist positions that really do not allow all of the things that we have been able to create to really happen on the field or on the farm. These extremist positions are the ones that are extreme ecocentrism, that is to say, nature is reified as the only single objective, forgetting about humans and their needs, or at the other extreme, humans and their needs are considered as the sole priority without considering that the actions needed to complement them need to be accompanied by sustainability and other drivers if we want to see a possible future and a positive future moving forward. So extreme ecocentrism has a number of characteristics. It has to do with lots of ideologies and other aspects that are not entirely clear, and man-centered positions, by contrast, prioritize the accomplishment of objectives without considering nature, without considering sustainability, without considering our future so that we may become better at what we are doing moving forward. Neither are the road to take. Both of them are self-limiting and self-limited.
They deny science, deny the adoption of technology advances, but they are filled with ideology that has nothing to do with the genuine goal of feeding humanity, with man-centered views have no promising future either, and they are both limiting views. To give you an example of things that are not true and that are so deeply rooted in society due to these extreme positions is that if you analyze this into deep, there are more toxic molecules, foreign molecules that are detrimental in a block of a city than in any grain of wheat or corn developed with common technology used in fertilizers, agrochemicals, when they are correctly used, of course. There's much more, there are many more pollutants, and this is the origin of most of intoxications or food poisoning at rates that we are unaware of. They are long-term trials where throughout 10 years, out of the total number of food poisoned people, only 3 to 5% people came from rural environments. All the rest come from urban areas. So it's a myth, it's a lie, the fact that a well-managed crop with modern technology is a reason for concern when things are well done. These extreme views that limit the use of modern technologies are extremely harmful, even getting to perverse positions. In the emblematic case is the denial of biotechnology when it's connected with a lack of vitamin A that is mostly based on rice diets that lack vitamin A. These children may end up blind due to this type of diet. Biotechnology put at the world service golden rice, that through biotechnology we have taken a carrot gene into rice, and with that we were able to produce vitamin A in rice. The intake of that rice solves this lack of vitamin A. It's unconceivable that up until today, the Supreme Court banned the use of biotechnology in the Philippines, among them the golden rice. This is something that we need to review due to humane views. This is a bias against technology. This is a picture I have personally taken. What it states to me is that I wish we can revert the situation for children who are not blind or yet, and so that they do not get to be blind. Why don't they use these genetic technology? Because of prejudice or biased views, extreme views. So who becomes responsible? Who assumes the cost and the consequences of banning and delaying the adoption of these technologies? And why? I'm sure it's not clear, and it's related to things that are not transparent enough. So, which are the arguments and justification they condemn people of the world, the people who need the most of these advances, and that cannot have access to these advances? So, looking into the future, which is our responsibilities? We need to base our action in intermediate positions that are balanced, not in an extreme points of view, that is based on a productive system represented by no-till farming as a level playing field where all new sciences converge, that is acquired with more productivity and taking care of the mother resource, which is the soil. This idea, this is a reality we have created in our country in 90% of the land, of the surface, and in the southern cone. And it brought about a lot of hustle in the world and led me to be invited to share this idea in many places of the world with my peer farmers to remote places I would have never thought I would have the chance to share. In this case, with Dr. Norma Barlow, who congratulates on my talk. This is a man who is said to have saved the most number of lives. He's amazing. He was amazing. I'm tired, he said, I'm tired of hearing thousands of problems, but no solutions. And you, representing your country and your region, precisely offer the solution and a principle to develop solutions. I debated with colleagues in South Africa and all around the world. This picture is with a pioneer of similar ideas. He is from South Africa. In our faces, you can see the joy of being able to contribute with the grain of sand to this humanitarian drama. Without expecting it, I found myself talking face-to-face to the Prince of Wales at the time, now King Charles III. And thanks to all our work, they got interested in learning from us. Queen Beatrix was also interested to learn more about these realities. This is no theory. This is not something desirable. It is the reality of our production. Of course, it's improvable, always it is, but it's our reality. It's an unheard of strength that we provide the world. To wrap up, because my time is up, I'm not going to speak about no-till farming. The whole Congress spoke about no-till farming. As a summary, I would say that more than thinking of an answer to the question, are we going to be capable of respond to future demand, that in the short term we will see it coming? The question should be, are they going to let us respond to the demand? We have all the technological tools to do so. What we need is not to be banned for no scientific reason. For example, it's emblematic that golden rice today in Philippines is not being adopted because of a legal resolution banning the use of biotechnology with no scientific base for their ruling. As a human being, as a producer, as a farmer, and from my optimistic point of view, I think that we have the moral obligation and humanitarian obligation to provide food and other goods that comes from agriculture to all the human species that is present and the human beings to come in a sustainable manner. That is to say, our actions today should not go in detriment to those that will come after us. This is all. Thank you so much. And I hope I was able to convey the important ideas I wanted to share with you.